Hello. I thought I'd come up for air for a minute and say hello to everyone out there. Oh, wait a minute. Let me put my microphone on. Hello. I thought I'd come up for air for a minute and say hello. This kind of felt like playing. It's been a long day, and I usually record my shows earlier, and felt like I just felt like playing a little bit, and I don't know if any of you guys have some questions about what I did, but I don't know. I don't know if I could explain anything. I think all the stuff that we end up playing, we take all these lessons and we learn all these rules and we do all these exercises, but in the end, we really have no control over what we do. It all kind of comes from somewhere else, and I have no idea where it comes from. And at some point, you just sort of have to learn to live within your own skin, and for better or worse. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. And but most of what's happening when we're playing music is subconscious. Really, it's kind of animalistic, and I think the whole fun of it is to take risks and to try things that you hadn't tried before in the heat of the moment. I mean, of course, it's a certain amount of preparation you have to do, but that's kind of the whole fun of it. And I was thinking of jazz in particular. To me, is a very aspirational music. It's always trying to become something. I always say it's not, it's not what it is necessarily, but what it could be. Where is it going? Where is it expanding? Where is it, asking questions. What if I could do? What if I tried this? What if I tried that? And that, to me, that's the whole fun of it. So, and I think that's also why probably jazz is, I think, associated with democracy. And there was a point in this country where our Congress actually passed a resolution. It was a joint resolution in the House and Senate declaring jazz a national treasure. That was in like 1980, I want to say 1987, something like that. I could look it up. Of course, we don't, maybe gotten a little cynical about democracy, but yeah, that was actually a congressional resolution that was passed. Jazz is officially a national treasure, and I don't know what that makes me, but so maybe I'll end up playing a little bit more. Last week we kind of touched on some songs and easier songs to play, and I should say easy. There's no such thing as easy. Everything's hard, no matter how simple it is. But it's hard to know sometimes. What to teach, because I have students that I don't know. They're from a different generation, so they're listening to music that I don't really listen to, and I try to be interested in some way, but of course, I guess most of the music that I play wasn't part of my generation, really. I mean, I wasn't alive when most of that music was recorded. And why I might like it and have an affinity for it, I don't know. Maybe because it wasn't that far from, my parents' generation. I mean, and they kind of instilled it in me. I mean, it was all songs that they knew from their early days, early childhood, and I guess it was just, when they thought of music, that's what they thought of. They thought of songs by George Gershwin and Cole Porter and Richard Rodgers and Jerome Kern and Irving Berlin, and thought of Errol Garner and Art Tatum and Oscar Peterson, So I don't think those names are particularly familiar. I don't know if they were ever that familiar anyway in the first place. I don't know. I just had a flashback of a documentary that I saw a while ago about Oscar Peterson. Well, Oscar Peterson is not American; he's Canadian, and I don't think he quite knew what he was getting into when he took a tour. When he started to tour the United States, particularly down south, he had a lot of. It was pretty rough. It was pretty rough for him. I don't know if I was in his shoes, I would have done as well. Maybe I won't go into it. Maybe I won't go into it that much. But there is a very nice documentary about Oscar Peterson. I don't think there's that many, so if you find it, you'll kind of know. There's also another really good documentary that Dizzy Gillespie did called A Night in I think it's A Night in Havana, which kind of explores Cuban jazz and the differences between jazz in Cuba and the United States, and how the trajectories were different based on the country's histories. That was quite interesting. There's not that many movies on jazz. Well, maybe there are. I don't know. I'm not that big a fan of movies about music. My favorite jazz movie, I'll call it a jazz movie, is a movie with Kirk Douglas called Young Man with a Horn, which is a story about the famous trumpet player Bix Beiderbecke. And there's actually a cameo in there, not a really cameo, it's a part, it's a real part with Hoagy Carmichael, the great Hoagy Carmichael, who wrote Stardust. And Lauren Bacall was in it, and who else was in it? The names are on the tip of my tongue, but that was a great movie about this. Kirk Douglas plays the student of Bix Beiderbecke, and he becomes this great musician, and then of course he meets a woman and starts drinking, and his life starts to unravel. And then he starts to be really mean, and he's really mean to his teacher, and then his teacher dies, and he's upset because he was mean to his teacher. I do think that's why I play, though. If I hadn't met my teachers, I wouldn't be anywhere. And I like remembering my teachers, and I'm still friends with some of my teachers who are still living. There's fewer and fewer of them still living, but I think those were the those are my favorite moments. Just taking lessons, and to me that's the whole point of learning music, is that you build connections with people. The songs are all well and good, but you build connections with people, and you experience very important moments that would otherwise not have been achieved, not have been experienced, had you not, met these people. They kind of take you under their wing, and at least that's what happened to me. I had someone that, became very close to and took me under their wing, and gave me gigs and helped me to become a, professional. I had a teacher once that said, who was his teacher, says, professional means that you make money at it. That's all it means. It's like, I guess that is all it means. I wouldn't know. I haven't made much money at it. But kind of rambling now. But as I said, it's been sort of a long day, and I'm just doing some playing, and maybe I'll play a little more, and then I'll see you guys next week. All right.